We're really tickled to have Max on. Max, I listened to Nick Saban today talk about what they were trying to do with spring practice as far as learning, teaching, understanding their work ethic, how they can get better. It's not a drudgery deal. Hopefully it's not. I think in Alabama's case, maybe not in other cases, spring training has changed. When I was there with Coach Bryant and them, the kids dreaded it. Not that they don't dread it now, but I think it's more of let's knock heads on Saturday at the stadium, but let's teach more during the week. Is that right or wrong?
Well, I don't think it's. I think it's no doubt, Coach. And I think a lot of it's to do with the way the kids are raised today. It's a whole different environment and society out there today. When Coach Bryant was coaching, when I came along, and you also look to get to a college program, that was kind of an escape. That was your ticket out of rural areas, working on the farm or whatever. And I think that was what everybody knew. And everybody today, with all the other things that's available to them, you've got to challenge them, mentally. I think as much as you can. And I don't think the attention span is as long as it used to be. I think you got to keep things moving quickly, and I think they've got to feel a sense of learning and getting better each day. And I think probably Coach Saban does as good a job at that as anybody in the country.
Well, we've got a situation where we've got a group a big group who are back, and they know a lot. And we've got the new guys who've coming in on the gray shirt deal, and then we've got a group who have been there but have not played much. So I just think from what I can gather, you can explain to me, they generally group them and go from there probably.
Yeah, they do, and it's not all about the physical this time of year because used to you didn't have all-season programs, you didn't keep them in the summertime. All those things play a part. Now it's a 12-month job. All those guys stay in summer school. They show up, and ones that show up in early graduation or gray shirting or whatever they may do, come in early or already in school, and now they're already in the off-season program. So the physical conditioning is not nearly as important in spring and preseason as it used to be. So you can afford to have that time to teach, and you do inspire them. They do get a chance to compete, particularly those ones that know they got a chance to play next year. To me, the most exciting ones are those guys that were either redshirted or highly skilled young ones coming in, and there's a vacancy or two at that position, and those kids, 2 or 3 of them, are really fighting for that position every day.
Well,
that's the exciting part.
The recruiting takes care of so many things when you have the recruiting classes they have, because if you're a guy who started, you think you're going to go into the spring and they're just going to lay back and kind of go through the motions. You got a 5-star guy coming in there hungry, breathing down your neck.
That's true.
And, what better way to make a kid work hard and have somebody right on his heels? That's probably the difference between maybe an Ole Miss and an Alabama, maybe where their starters probably don't have a guy breathing down their neck who was a 5-star who could come in there. Because Coach Saban's already proved now, if you're a freshman and you can play, he'll put you on the field. That has to help, doesn't it, Max?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Building that depth is really an important thing, and that depth chart. And I can guarantee you those kids keep up with what's going on. Even when practice is over, they know, and they shift that depth chart every day. During spring, based on how those kids come along, and you're absolutely right. Competition is the key to it, and having that depth going into the fall is the most important thing. How many times have we looked around and talked about Vanderbilt and other programs that can play with most anybody for a half, but where the good programs win the games in the third and fourth quarter because of the injury, the fatigue, or whatever may be the substitution pattern, that those guys are just as fresh in the fourth quarter, and the good ones that can play are fresh in the fourth quarter because they got the depth. So that to me, that's what it's all about: learning the process and really staying away from running how many 10-mile sprints did we run? Did we run the kids during those years that really could have been devoted to teaching as opposed to conditioning?
No, Max, people are not going to want to hear this because everybody thinks everybody's great in the SEC. I think the East is going to be the worst it's been in years. I think Georgia's going to be good. Tennessee supposed to be good.
Yeah, that's
right. Florida's not going to be as good as they were last year. South Carolina's no good. I think the East is going to be where when the West plays them, they won't get any benefit by beating them.
I don't think we don't know about Tennessee. You know, we read all about the great problem, but you know they lost 2 or 3 games on the sideline last year, and I'd be really anxious to see how that does. We'll be anxious to see how Kirby does. He'll bring the Alabama system and the program just like Alabama's at. That's what he's known for the last 15 years. And again, you know, Jim McElwain still ain't got a quarterback that can play. So we'll see. They lost some of those kids on the defensive side too. And there's the 3 top programs. And I agree with you, Coach. I don't see them being able to. You know, whoever wins the East may have 3 losses this year because it's just I don't see them being competitive at all. Missouri don't even play hardly anymore, and we know what about Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So, you know, I think you're absolutely right. It has to be one of those top 3 programs that we've mentioned, and where somebody emerges from lack of competition. We don't know that yet. The West now, I mean, to me, it's still. You know, I think it's going to. I really do believe, as I see it now, it's going to be Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss probably in that order. Mainly Ole Miss because of the quarterback returning. We don't know about A&M. We certainly don't know about Arkansas. Mississippi State's going to be down. So, you know, I think that from top to bottom, it's still the Southeastern Conference, but it's going to have to be carried by the West.
How important is Georgia's spring practice? You know, Kirby Smart is setting a tone for whatever his style is going to be with these players. It's the first time they've gone through it. So the players are probably a little bit on edge. They don't know what to expect. I think Mark Richt was probably harder on the field than people realize. Maybe off the field he comes across as a nice guy, but how important is the spring for Georgia? Because he's going to start sending this program in some direction with the message that he wants. How important is it to those guys?
Oh, I think it's great. I think, first of all, they got to find a quarterback, you know, like others in the league. But with Kirby coming in with a new system, I'll be really interested to see the defensive side. I think it's going to mimic on the defensive side what Alabama's doing. I think that's he and Mel both know what Coach Saban did and was very successful. They were both part of it, and I really think they'll be pretty good on defense. How good we don't know yet because I don't know what the talent level. Mark was always good, had really good recruiting classes, but some of those kids just never panned out. And I don't know whether that was a product of the system that he employed, or they maybe weren't quite as good as advertised. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. Joey, I think we'll find out coming up with Kirby Smart, though.
You know, Max, we have a controversy over here, article or 2 written about Kirby's not letting everybody transfer that wants to, which I wouldn't let them transfer unless I want them to transfer. Now, you have a lot of, people that don't understand it. And as Barry said, it's controversy over absolutely nothing because the guy that's going to transfer, nobody cares about him transferring anyway. But I think that you have to be careful. I've even heard, I had a big row one time with a reporter about, he said everybody ought to be allowed to transfer it wants to. And I said, bull. That's not, we've got enough of them transferred in basketball now.
Right. That's true.
And football too. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to comment on that or not or can, but I don't think that every time a guy walks up to you, that he wants to transfer somewhere else because he's unhappy that you let it happen.
Well, I think every circumstance really has to probably be evaluated on its own merit. Sure. It depends on how the guy got there. First and foremost, what was his choices? Is he an in-state kid? Does he want to transfer to another conference? Does he want to go across the country? What is his family situation? I think it's a lot of things that do. As far as this blanket transfer. No, I would be very careful about that myself. Oh. I certainly wouldn't want a kid that I worked hard to recruit to come in just because things didn't work out for him, that he just wanted to jump ship and jump from one school to another right there in the same conference. I'd renege on that request in a heartbeat.
I would too.
Well, I think Mark Richt basically said he wasn't going to hold up anybody that wanted to leave. You want to go wherever you want. I think Kirby's stopping that. After Alabama, Max, put Alabama to the side. What is the next best job in the SEC?
Well, I think the next best job in the SEC probably is LSU.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, look, it's many people that has been really not satisfied with Les Miles' production down there, you can't deny the number of athletes that they get to come to that university.
What's third? What's third?
They ain't even close. I'm telling you
What's
right
third?
now, behind LSU, Texas
give me
A&M.
3, 4, 5.
Texas A&M, all Florida.
Well, I'm going to say Georgia and Texas A&M should be there, but there's a problem, guys. I'm going to tell you about it. And I've read, and I got friends of mine that are involved in that program down there and has been. And Jackie Sherrill's a good friend of mine, and I talk to him on a regular basis. There's something always missing in that thing, and I finally have talked to enough people. I think there's too many Chiefs down there, not quite enough Indians running the program. That's just an observation. That you got too many folks, big money people, that want to make too many comments, and it has always been that way. And I'm not sure the University of Texas doesn't fall in the same category. I think it's the environment out there that does, but the program itself, probably what the biggest student body in the SEC, probably as much or more money available for the program than anybody in the SEC, they can't quite get it done. I don't know why. It's just seemingly something. But I won't put them in the top 4. Florida, I think, has been and could be. But, again, there's another thing. I think my observation on Florida is and I recruited against them, the talent level they get a lot of great finesse kids. But, guys, I'm going to tell you, they don't get a lot of tough kids that can line up and knock you off the ball every snap.
Good point, yeah.
Where does Auburn factor in 14 schools?
But guys, I'm gonna say mid-pack. They're gonna be up a year or two. They're gonna be down. The history of them.
Well, I'm just talking. So, as a job, you think it's 7th in the league?
I'm thinking they stick to 7th in the job right now. I really do. They hadn't exemplified anything different than that, Barry. I don't think.
Well, I'm just talking about forget who's coaching there, this, that, and the other. If you could, take a job, obviously Alabama.
But see, it's a supporting cast. It starts with it really starts with the top, the chancellor or the president, and how that power situation trickles down to the athletic director. What accessibility do you have financially? What can you pay the assistant coaches? What's the exposure level you're going to get nationally? What about scheduling? I mean, there's a ton of things that are involved to me, in securing a good job. When you've got all those things in a row, and you've got great fan support, and which normally comes with winning, but when you have all those things, the value of the job goes up. And, Texas used to be one of the best jobs in the country, but it's fallen. And I keep making reference to that because we know they got as much money as anybody in the country. Charlie Strong came there with a good resume. He's not been able to get it done because of a lot of things that go on, inside the program that he ain't got control over. So I think that when I go to evaluating jobs, I'm looking at a lot of things outside just on the field. And really just the football program.
Well, I don't think Auburn has a problem spending money now. Auburn will spend money with the best of them.
Well, they make the wrong decision, though, Barry. Look, think about it. I tell you what, you guys looked at, and you heard me say on this show, they didn't have a defensive player over there that could, maybe one or two, let me go, maybe one or two, they could compete for championship. They could play at that level. They could play, in particular, they had no depth on the defensive front. Well, how did that happen over 3 or 4 years after winning the national championship and playing for a second one in 5 years? How do you get to that level in your recruiting? You know why? Because you make bad decisions on your kids. Somebody does. I don't know who calls the shot on that, but somebody does.
I want to ask you this. I know you probably got to go, but I'm going to be shocked if Alabama starts a quarterback against Southern Cal that's a freshman. I will bet you $5 to a donut. The guy that played, what's the guy's name from Utah, Barry? The guy that lost the game last year.
Oh, Cooper Bateman.
I'll bet you $50 to a donut Bateman starts. I just don't think that they will take a guy who has never played in a game and line him up at Southern Cal.
I agree with that. I mean, he hadn't done it yet. I mean, he found a kid that transferred for last year and got him to a championship. Had a kid the year before that I didn't think could play. They got him coached up to get to the championship game, get to the playoffs. That the track record's there. That the freshmen at this level have a hard time managing that system. We talk all about his skill level and all the things, but how many times right now, particularly with the Alabama program, they start off by saying, hey, we ask the quarterback not to lose the game first. Manage it, then he grows into winning the game.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think that's going to happen again this year.
I do too.
All right, Max, anything going on with those websites?
Oh, man, listen, we're just getting ready to crank it up. We got Game Day, MISS, GameDayMiss.com up and running now. We got GameDayAL.com coming on board. That's going to be actually launched right around spring training, spring training game in mid-April. We just created a new one. We did a lot of research on this thing, guys. It's called GameDayRebels.com, mainly based on the Ole Miss program, mainly for two reasons. One, they have no active sports talk radio in Oxford. That's one. Two is that there's no competitive websites out there. That the way we're going to do it. So Game Day Tupelo's up and running well. So we're off and running. We got great support, financial support. I'm really surprised, kind of how many of the big sponsorships are coming on board with us. So we feel excited about it right now.
All right, well, tell everybody what's for supper.
Oh, man, I'm going to tell you what. I did one Sunday night. I deep-fried a beef tenderloin, pulled it out and drained it, and then I fixed some homemade mushroom gravy and poured that over. Of course, we bedded that with some buttery mashed potatoes, a big old pot of butter beans on the side, some cabbage coleslaw, a big old pitcher of sweet iced tea, and I made, right from the oven, a warm sweet potato pie. And a couple of the guys wanted a little whipped cream on top of it. I ate mine plain, but it was absolutely delicious.
Whoa. Time out. You deep-fried a beef tenderloin?
Absolutely right.
How do you do that?
Well, you just flour it. You flour it, salt and pepper it, and get your grease in a pot. Just basically cut it in pieces. I cut mine in pieces about, 2 by 3 inches maybe, and drop it in and just watch it when it turns brown. Take it out and drain it.
Wow!
And then I put it in a pot, and I make my mushroom gravy. Pour that over and simmer that maybe like a crock pot for an hour or so. Then dip it out and put it on top of your mashed potatoes. And I'm telling you, make your tongue will slap your brain.
James, we gotta get us a segment on a website where we put these recipes out there. So.
Well, I've written 3 cookbooks.
I know.
I do that. I love it. That is my escape. I don't play golf. I ride the golf cart a lot. It's course, but I don't play golf. I don't hunt very much. I don't fish, but I love to cook.
You send Dad one of those cookbooks. That'd be the first book he's ever read if you send him a cookbook.
I don't know how to cook. I just eat.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best way. That really is. But I enjoy it, and I'm coming to visit you guys. I'm gonna be over at the spring game.
Thanks, Max. Good job.
See you, Max.
All right. Thank you, guys.